Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today's the 13th of February 2024. And yesterday, guys, the Bidenflation numbers or inflation numbers are out. And in the United States of America, guys, the consumer price index did actually rise by 0.5% and the inflation stands at 3%. Now it's going to be really interesting to see, guys, what kind of narrative mainstream media goes with. And I'm pretty much sure because of that, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be impacted. Now, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, guys, it is kind of staying steady at around the $97,000 mark. But look, guys, there are some really geopolitical chaos going to be happening over the weekend. And President Donald Trump did actually give a final ultimatum to Hamas. And they need to go and surrender all the hostages to Israel. And if not, guys, he clearly said that there's going to be hell in the Middle East. So because of that, guys, I'm pretty much sure indirectly the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be impacted. And as a matter of fact, a few hours ago, President Donald Trump also had peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. And we will get more information regarding this on Friday. So look, guys, on Fridays and Saturdays, I'd really urge you guys to go ahead and keep a track on what is going on, not just in the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency world, but also in the geopolitical world. And because President Donald Trump is taking initiatives, guys, the world is definitely heading towards world peace. And once that thing happens, I'm pretty much sure the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be reflecting positively. So today, guys, we'll go ahead and discuss all this information. Now, we got to kickstart by talking about the inflation numbers. And as I've been saying over and over again, guys, the only website to look at is the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. And in the show notes below, you can go ahead and find out the official link. And that is the only website you need to be checking out so far as inflation is concerned. And along with that, guys, I'll also go ahead and discuss President Donald Trump's move. And he's aiming for world peace and what kind of an impact will have on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, regarding United States of America, we do have two updates. And both the news are connected to Security and Exchange Commission. Now, the first news, guys, is regarding meme coins. And looks like the Security and Exchange Commission under the new administration is definitely taking a completely different stance. And the SEC Commissioner, that is Hester Pierce, she did actually state that so far as meme coins are concerned, they do not fall under the SEC jurisdiction. This, to be honest, is kind of like a massive relief, isn't it? So it's going to be really interesting to see what the future of meme coins is. Now, I'm not sure, guys, so far as meme coins are concerned, should it be the CFTC who should be responsible for it? But hopefully we get some clarity regarding this. And whatever the outcome is, guys, at least we're getting some clarity. And that, to be honest, guys, will be reflecting positively for the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, the funny news, guys, is also connected to SEC. And here's an interesting update, guys. They did have an ongoing drama with Binance, but looks like they have come up with a 60-day pause. And the reason for that is because the Security and Exchange Commission, they are forming a crypto task force. And looks like their intention is clearly to go ahead and support cryptocurrency adoption. So at this point of time, guys, the drama between SEC and Binance has been put on hold for 60 days. Let's see, guys, what the outcome to this is. But look, guys, so far as President Donald Trump is concerned, he's definitely taking positive moves so far as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned, isn't it? So kudos to him. So quite a lot to cover, guys, in today's episode. And most of the news today are connected to the United States of America. Because look, guys, when the United States of America has cough, the entire world has pneumonia. So we definitely need to be in power with what is going on in US. So quite a lot to cover, guys, in today's episode. And like we do in every Crypto and Coffee Date series, we will be looking at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now the first news, guys, is connected to Saudi Arabia. And check this out, guys. Saudi Arabia's NEOM, they have signed $5 billion deal for AI data center. Absolutely massive news. Now the second news, guys, is connected to my second project, that is Bitcoin DXB. And a few weeks ago, guys, I did go live via LinkedIn. And I did talk about Bitcoin at a very basic and beginner level. And next Tuesday, guys, that is the 18th of February, I will be going live with a colleague of mine, that is D. And we are going to be discussing how you can go ahead and buy Bitcoin, how you can hodl Bitcoin, and how you can go ahead and store Bitcoin. Now look, guys, the whole idea for me to go ahead and do that is so that people get an understanding of Bitcoin at a beginner level, advanced level and technical level. So the session I'm going to be doing on the 18th of February, guys, this will be once again at a completely beginner level. So please feel free to go ahead and attend it. And I will go ahead and release this entire thing as a standalone episode as well. So what I'll do in today's episode, I'll go ahead and discuss what is it that you can expect at the session. So quite a lot to cover, guys, in today's episode. Let's kickstart with it right away. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media, guys, is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well. And Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously. And they're focusing on 3 Ps. That is people, planet, and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing. Go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform. Check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now, if you look at the market sentiment, guys, Wirecard market cap is still at fear, but yesterday the number was 37, and today it has gone down to 35. And look, guys, the answer to this is pretty simple. Looks like the inflation is picking up, and as I mentioned earlier, guys, it is really important to understand that so far as the inflation is concerned, the inflation number talks about the month of January, and this was the time when Biden administration was in charge, and President Donald Trump did actually mention via Truth Social that inflation is up, and rightly so as well. And if you look at some of the fake news mainstream media guys, they're already blaming President Donald Trump for it, which does not make absolute any sense, isn't it? Because it is the next CPI numbers that Trump administration would be responsible for. Now, one of the reasons why the CPI numbers is important, guys, is because based on this data and many others, Federal Chair Jerome Powell will be making a decision whether to keep the interest rate, reduce it, or increase it. And as and when time goes by, guys, I will go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion as to why most likely he might just keep the interest rate the same. But for now, guys, let's take a deep dive into the global cryptocurrency snapshot. Because since the last 24 hours, it did actually go down by 2.53%. And if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, it is at $3.23 trillion. Now, one matrix which I'm definitely not content, that is the volume of stable coins. Because today the number is only at $118 billion. And because of CPI numbers not looking that great, I would really had liked to see this number around the $140 to $160 billion mark. And with President Donald Trump making some bold moves in Middle East, I'm really curious to check, guys, what the volume of stable coins is on Fridays, Saturdays, and even Sundays. Now, if you look at the total cryptocurrency market volume since the last 24 hours, it is at $127.74 billion. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 20.63%. Now, unfortunately, guys, the volume in decentralized finance isn't that great, and it is only at $11.66 billion. And decentralized finance, guys, as of today, is accounting for only 9.13% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume, and so far as the total value locked is concerned, it is only at $109.76 billion, with Lido still dominating so far as TVL or total value locked is concerned, and the total value locked is $26.01 billion. Now the decentralized to centralized exchange dominance today is below the 40% mark, and it is only at 38.55%. Now let's quickly run through the volume of decentralized exchanges, and we are looking at the top 5 as usual. The number 1, guys, is PancakeSwap, and its 24-hour volume is $3.05 billion. Uniswap, guys, is at number 2nd, and its 24-hour volume is $2.18 billion. Radium is pushed back to number 3rd, and its 24-hour volume is $1.50 billion. The 4th one, guys, is Orca, and the 24-hour volume is $827.91 million. And at number 5 today is Meteora, and its 24-hour volume is $764 million. Now look, guys, so far as the volume of decentralized exchange is concerned, it is high time that the number actually doubles at least at this point of time. Because look, right now we have everything in place, we have ETF in place, and hopefully pretty soon we'll be having the Bitcoin reserve in place as well. So keeping that thing in mind, guys, I'd really like to see the volume of decentralized exchanges as well as the volume of decentralized finance picking up pace, and only then we can confidently state that the world is ready for decentralized exchanges. Let me know, guys, if you agree to my assessment or not, or if you do have any alternative thought, mention them in the comments below. Now, if you look at the volume of stable coins, as I mentioned earlier, guys, I'd like to see this number around the $140 to $160 billion mark, because that would actually mean over the next coming days, there is a very high possibility for the prices to pump up. But unfortunately, guys, the volume of stablecoins is only at $118.08 billion, and stablecoins as of today is accounting for 92.44% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And out of this $118.08 billion, guys, Tether USDT is clearly leading the pack, and its 24-hour volume is $101.78 billion. Circle USDC is at number 2nd, and its 24-hour volume is $8.91 billion. FDUSD, guys, is at number 3rd, and its 24-hour volume is $6.92 billion. Now let's quickly run to the market cap, 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now Bitcoin's dominance, guys, has actually gone down, but it hasn't gone down quite a lot. It is at 59.99%, because since the last week or so, guys, Bitcoin's dominance was consistently about the 60% mark. And if you look at Ethereum's dominance, it was around the 10 to 11% mark, but today it is at 10.20%. Now if you look at the market cap of Bitcoin, guys, it is still below the $2 trillion mark. It is at $1.93 trillion, whereas Ethereum's market cap is at $331 billion. Now look, guys, I'm really curious to check what narrative mainstream media puts out regarding inflation numbers, and I'm pretty much sure, guys, it is because of the fake news and mainstream media. The prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be drastically changing, So as much as I dislike saying this, guys, go ahead and look at what mainstream media are saying, and then you can go ahead and make your investment decision. And whatever I'm saying is definitely not financial advice, cause historically, guys, I've always said this, all past predictions are 100% right, 50% of the time. Now, so far as the 24-hour trading volume is concerned, Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume is below the $50 billion mark. It is at $48.59 billion, whereas Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is $25.44 billion. Now, every day, guys, in the Blockchain DXB podcast, I tend to look at one new matrix, and today, guys, what I want to do is, I want to look at the top 5 highest prices NFT statistics, and what is really unique about this particular statistics, guys, is all of the matrix are converted into Ethereum. So rather than looking at it from a dollar point of view, we are going to be talking about it from an Ethereum point of view. And there's no surprise, guys, that the number one and the highest NFT is Azuki. And if you look at it in terms of Ethereum amount, it is at 750.73 Ethereum. The second one is Doodle. And if you look at it in terms of Ethereum amount, it is at 522.9 Ethereum. Pudgy Penguins, guys, is at number 3rd. And in terms of Ethereum, it is at 304.19 Ethereum. Melody is at number 4th. And so far as Ethereum is concerned, it is 268.62 Ethereum. Now the number 5th, guys, looks like it was sold in Matic. And rather than looking at it from an Ethereum point of view, this data is showing in Matic. And it is Liberty Cats, guys. And so far as Matic is concerned, looks like the amount is 1,809,286.21 Matic. Really interesting matrix to look at. Now, guys, let's go ahead and look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. And the price of Bitcoin is $97,738. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 1.90%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 1.45%. And if you look at Ethereum, guys, it is at $2,733. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 4.63%. But since the last 7 days, it is down by 1.11%. Ripple or XRP, guys, it is well below the $3 mark. It is at $2.47. But since the last 24 hours, it is up by 1.62%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 3.89%. Now, what happened yesterday, guys, that is the 12th of February, around 5:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time, the Consumer Price Index or Bidenflation or inflation numbers are out. And the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers did actually increase by 0.5% on a seasonal adjusted basis, and this was for the month of January. Now, it's really important to note, guys, in the month of December, it did actually rise by 0.4%, and this particular information, guys, is published by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and the link to that is in the show notes below. So essentially, guys, what has happened is the Consumer Price Index has increased by 0.5%, and when you talk about inflation, the US inflation is at 3%, and it is up by 2.9% in December. So look, guys, it is so critical that you go and look at information from first source. And as I've been saying over and over again, guys, in case you want to go and look at how the inflation is calculated, go to the link that is in the show notes below, and it goes ahead and explains what the inflation is, and more importantly, guys, it also goes ahead and tells you how the inflation is calculated. Now, in case if you find what they printed is extremely tough, guys, all you need to do is copy paste that information and put it into ChatGPT 4 and ask ChatGPT 4 to go ahead and explain it, and you'd be surprised, guys. Mainstream media goes ahead and puts out a completely fake narrative regarding inflation. So do one thing, guys, go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. The link to that is in the show notes below, and at the bottom of the page, they have clearly mentioned how inflation is calculated. All you need to do is copy paste that information, put it into ChatGPT 4, and ask ChatGPT to explain it as a 5-year-old, and you will truly understand how inflation is calculated. And there is a calendar as well, and you will know well in advance when the CPI numbers will be out. And look, guys, a lot of notorious traders, high net worthy individuals, and trillion-dollar companies, they are well aware about these dates, and most often than not, they go out and utilize it, and they are the ones who go out and manipulate the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So these are things you definitely need to be aware about. Now, guys, let's go ahead and discuss another really interesting move by President Donald Trump. And what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, go to the White House official website and look at information from the first source. And President Donald Trump is having peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. And he shared a message on Truth Social about a productive phone call with President Putin. And he talked about discussing global issues and agreeing to initiate peace talks to end Russia-Ukraine war. But look, guys, if you actually go to left-leaning mainstream media, they are bashing President Donald Trump even for this. and they are saying that he's not involving the president of Ukraine in this. This, to be honest, guys, is 100% incorrect, because he did have a press briefing regarding this, and he clearly said both the parties will be involved. Now, regarding the Truth Social message, guys, it is in the show notes below, and President Donald Trump also thanked Putin for the release of Mark Vogel, who I believe was a school teacher who was stuck in Russia, and a lot of Americans definitely seem to be happy regarding this. Now, regarding the peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, guys, he has set out a date on Friday, and if I'm not mistaken, guys, JD Vance would be the one who would be attending this negotiation, and he talked about the first meeting that will actually be held in Saudi Arabia. Now, these are information, guys. Mainstream media is not putting it out, isn't it? And President Donald Trump in the video message did clearly state that Saudi Arabia also wants peace, not just between Russia and Ukraine, but also between Israel and Palestine. And these are some macro level things that you need to be aware about, guys, because look, whether we like it or not, news such as this will directly and indirectly impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, isn't it? And this Saturday, guys, President Donald Trump has also given a really stark warning to Hamas, and he does want them to go ahead and release all the hostages, and if not, guys, he has promised that there's going to be hell that is going to be breaking loose. So look, what I want to do is, guys, I want to go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion as to how this would impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, either in a positive or in a negative way. And the first thing I can clearly think of is geopolitical stability. Now look, guys, if peace talks between Russia and Ukraine and the US lead to a resolution, it could signal a reduction in global tensions, and this will definitely foster a more stable economic environment, and this, guys, could boost investor confidence and drive demand for risky assets, particularly Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, when you talk about the impact on the US dollar, guys, President Donald Trump's emphasis on the power of dollar could also affect the crypto market, and if the US dollar maintains or strengthens its position globally, guys, investors might seek alternative assets like Bitcoin as a hedge against potential inflation or even dollar devaluation, and this once again could drive up the demand, isn't it? And what about the energy and AI development, guys? I very strongly feel discussing energy and artificial intelligence could have indirect impact on the crypto prices as well, and advances in energy efficiency or AI-driven technologies might improve Bitcoin mining or blockchain scalability, and this would definitely lead to increased interest in cryptocurrencies. Now, the final thing I'm thinking about is regarding sanctions and regulations, guys, because a change in diplomatic relations, such as, let's say, easing tensions with Russia, Israel, and Palestine, could alter the regulatory landscape for cryptocurrencies as well, particularly in relation to sanctions and global financial system, and this, guys, could actually encourage or deter cryptocurrency adoption, and this clearly depends on the outcome. So look, guys, overall I very strongly feel, and most likely this is what would happen, the negotiations will progress successfully, and if that thing happens, it could create a more favorable macroeconomic environment for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and this will definitely lead for the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to pump up. But look, guys, the cryptocurrency world is absolutely wild and wicked. What if we find out that the USDT were to go completely belly up? That'll definitely be a devastating news for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world, so I'm hoping that thing does not happen. Now, guys, let's go ahead and discuss the first news regarding SEC. And this is a really interesting news, guys, because what the SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce is saying, that meme coins may not necessarily fall under SEC, and Hester Pierce, guys, who is currently leading the SEC Crypto Task Force, discuss various crypto-related topics in an interview with Bloomberg, and in the show notes below, guys, you can go ahead and listen to the entire interview. It is roughly around 22 to 23 minutes long, and she also discussed regulations, innovations, exchange filings, meme coins, ETFs, and also collaboration with CFTC. And here's the interesting thing to remember, guys. She also discussed ongoing enforcement cases from former SEC Chair Gary Gensler, and she noted that many meme coins likely fall outside the SEC's jurisdictions, and she's actually suggesting that their oversight may actually be a matter for Congress or other agencies to decide. Now, according to me, guys, I was under the impression that CFTC should be the one who should be handling it, but look, I am definitely no expert in this, but hopefully, guys, with the Crypto Task Force, we might definitely get some clarity, and that is so much better than the previous SEC chair, that is Gary Gensler, who was under the rule of the left-leaning administration. So definitely interesting and positive developments so far as meme coins is concerned. And look, guys, once we get clarity regarding meme coins, who's to say we might see a new narrative in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space, and maybe it'll be the meme coin era. Now let me very briefly touch base on another interesting news, that does involve SEC and Binance, and the Security and Exchange Commission in US and Binance, guys, along with the defendants, have jointly requested a 60-day stay in their ongoing case, and they are citing the formation of an SEC crypto task force that could impact the case's resolution. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. Both parties agree that pausing proceedings would promote judicial efficiency, potentially avoiding unnecessary litigation and cost. And regarding the 60-day stay, it would also delay decisions on pending motions to dismiss, and at the end of the 60-day period, guys, they will submit a joint status report to determine if an extension is needed or not. Now, if you do need official information regarding this, the link to that is directly by the SEC, and it is in the show notes below. So these were the news, guys, on the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and artificial intelligence world. Now let's look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. And the first one, guys, is definitely a smashing one. And Saudi Arabia's NEOM, they have signed $5 billion deal for a data center. So let me go ahead and give out more information regarding this, because this particular project, guys, is backed by Data Vault, which is a Saudi-based company specializing in digital infrastructure. And the data center, guys, will be developed in Oxygon, which is NEOM's industrial city on the Red Coast City. And this facility will be fully powered by renewable energy, ensuring sustainability. And the data center will have a total capacity of 1.5 gigawatts, making it one of the largest in the region. And regarding the initial phase, they will develop a 300 megawatt capacity, and it is expected to be operational in the next 3 years, that is by 2028. And regarding AI and cloud computing, guys, the facility will focus on AI-driven data processing and cloud computing services, and the project will integrate end-to-end approach from energy sourcing to AI applications. And this investment, guys, aligns with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, isn't it, which aims to diversify the economy beyond oil. And there's some interesting talk regarding cooling technology as well, guys. And advanced cooling systems will be used to handle high-density AI and computer workloads as well. And regarding data connectivity, guys, Oxygon's strategic location provides direct access to undersea data cables for global connectivity. Now, what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, go to YouTube and just type in Oxygon, and you would truly understand what I'm talking about. Looks like Saudi Arabia is going to be the next frontier, and everything that they're doing is absolutely futuristic. And regarding environmental goals, guys, the project emphasizes sustainability with a net zero carbon emission target as well. So really interesting developments taking place in Saudi Arabia, and looks like they're aiming to position themselves as a leading data hub, and they are aggressively competing with UAE and Qatar. And regarding the center, guys, it will host AI models, providing computational power for businesses and government initiatives. And this project, guys, is also seeking partnership with international tech firms to enhance AI and data capabilities. And Saudi Arabia, guys, is aiming to attract top AI talent and create local jobs opportunities in high-tech fields. And the data center will enable national data security and reduce dependence on foreign cloud providers. And this particular project, guys, has a potential for expansion as global demand for AI and cloud computing increases. So definitely interesting news. And look, as I've been saying this over and over again, when it comes to artificial intelligence, I wouldn't be surprised if the Middle East turns out to be the leader. And Saudi Arabia is definitely taking leaps and bounds. And granted, guys, lately UAE has been making quite a lot of news as well. Now, guys, let's go ahead and discuss second news. And this is a new project that I've launched, that is Bitcoin DXB. And Bitcoin DXB, guys, essentially is a platform that is catered only to Bitcoin. And I'm definitely not going to be talking about any shitcoins in that. Now, on the 18th of this month, guys, I am going live via LinkedIn with D, who's a colleague of mine, who I did actually meet by a WhatsApp group called Sportsters, and we are going to be discussing how you can actually go ahead and buy Bitcoin at a very basic and beginner level. So in that session that we're going to be discussing, guys, we will go ahead and discuss, do you need to go ahead and buy Bitcoin, or can you go ahead and acquire Bitcoin? Now look, guys, there are various ways you can go ahead and acquire Bitcoin. Mining is one of them, but what about accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment? And I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion, along with ways and how you can simply acquire Bitcoin. And we'll also go ahead and discuss, let's say if you want to go ahead and buy Bitcoin, do you go ahead and use a centralized exchange, or do you go ahead and use a decentralized exchange? Now look, guys, as much as I dislike saying this, centralized exchanges definitely have a much better customer support. But look, me personally, I'd recommend you guys to go ahead and use a decentralized exchange. But in that session, guys, we will go ahead and explain everything at a very basic and beginner level. Now, I've been involved in Bitcoin going back to 2013, guys, and back in the day, and around 2015 to 2017, guys, whenever I used to get clients, I always used to refer them to localbitcoins.com, which was essentially a website where you can go and buy Bitcoin, and that worked peer-to-peer. Unfortunately, guys, local Bitcoins has shut down, and it is no longer in operation. And before shutting it down, guys, the website immediately stopped working in Dubai as well. But nonetheless, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss more information regarding this. And there is a very high possibility that there are some similar websites as well. Now look, guys, a lot of them truly don't understand the power of Lightning Network. And as I was mentioning earlier, guys, rather than buying Bitcoin, you can go ahead and acquire Bitcoin as well. And you don't need to have any technical expertise. And this is where Lightning Network kicks in. So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss that as well. Now, there are different ways you can go ahead and buy Bitcoin, and in the session that we'll be doing on the 18th of this month, we'll go ahead and discuss, can you go ahead and buy Bitcoin, let's say using PayPal, Cash App, or even traditional platforms. And one trend, guys, which are particularly observed in Dubai, that lately a lot of banks are giving you an option to go ahead and buy Bitcoin. So rather than going to a centralized exchange, you can log into your bank's app and you can directly go ahead and buy Bitcoin. But I'm pretty much sure there are certain risks associated with that. That is, who's in control of the Bitcoin? Are you in control of the Bitcoin? Or is it the bank who's in control of your Bitcoin? So we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on this. And I'll also go ahead and discuss, guys, how do you go ahead and hodl or hold your Bitcoin? Do you go ahead and use hot wallets? Or do you go ahead and use cold wallets? And let's say, guys, if you do want to go ahead and use a hardware wallet, we will discuss some of the benefits of using, let's say, Ledger Wallet, Trezor, or even Casa, and we'll break down what is self-custody versus third-party custody. And I just talked about banks allowing you to go ahead and buy these Bitcoins, isn't it? That, to be honest, guys, most likely will be third-party custody. And in the Bitcoin world, guys, there is often this saying, particularly when you go ahead and buy, let's say, Bitcoin with exchanges and just keep them on exchanges, you are technically not in control of your Bitcoin. And that is precisely the reason why Bitcoin was created. So we'll definitely go ahead and have an in-depth discussion in this. But look, this session is catered to someone who's relatively new in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space. And if you guys do have any questions or do have any suggestions or comments, mention them in the comments below. And if you guys do want to go ahead and sponsor this session, guys, drop me an email to unfairblockchaindxb.com. And that's about all, guys, on the Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence world from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now, for the next few minutes, is going to be an Ask Me Anything series where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Clinton who asks, how might inflation and the rising CPI impact Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? This, to be honest, Clinton, is such an important question and a basic one. Now look, in an idealistic world, and maybe in a couple of decades, let's say if the inflation actually increases, that should be the time when the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should be pumping up. Because look, the whole idea of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are a hedge against inflation, isn't it? But truth be told, none of those things are currently taking place. Now, even if you go to ChatGPT and ask, it would actually state that when inflation is actually picking up pace, people will go ahead and buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. In reality, we are still not there yet. What has been happening right now is, whenever the inflation actually picks up pace, there's a lot of panic in the market, and because of that, a lot of them go ahead and start dumping a lot of the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And that was not the reason why Bitcoin was created, isn't it? Because if you truly understand the whole dynamics of demand and supply for Bitcoin, you can make an argument that Bitcoin is deflationary in nature, and hopefully in a couple of decades we might be able to get there. But look, so far as rising inflation is concerned, what I think is, let's say if you look at it from a short-term point of view, the prices do actually go down. But because of the whole fixed supply of Bitcoin, there's only one direction in which way the price of Bitcoin could be heading towards. But you also asked a question regarding other cryptocurrencies. Now, a lot of other cryptocurrencies, Clinton, their supply is unlimited. If you look at Ethereum for that matter, I think they did a brilliant move by incorporating the whole burning mechanism, but the fact is that the supply is unlimited. So when you talk about cryptocurrencies that has a fixed supply, it kind of becomes deflationary in nature, but a lot of the tokens that supply is unlimited or gradually keeps on increasing, and then with the clever burning mechanism it does actually go down. So to answer your question, I do feel that inflation and rising CPI numbers over a short-term period of time will definitely be dropping down the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And as I mentioned earlier, it should actually happen the other way around. When the inflation is actually picking up pace, that should be the time people should be switching on to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And I've said this thing so many times in the past. Historically, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have not turned out to be a safe haven, not just during inflation, even during pandemic and even during war as well. Stable coins, on the other hand, they are turning out to be a safe haven not just against inflation and war, but even a hedge against the volatility that we experience in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So definitely interesting question, Clinton. And that's about all, guys, on the Ask Me Anything season blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays 8 am to 8:30 am we have the Blockchain DXB podcast, where we cover top news and information pertaining to the price of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. We also look at top news and information. We also look at 2 news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East, from the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and even artificial intelligence world now. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.